really critical, and both my producer and I have already decided we're going to read it. I've skimmed it, but now I'm going to read it. The Parasitic Mind. This is such an interesting way of looking at it. When I was on last year, I was on Bill Maher's program, Politically Incorrect, and he's at real time with Bill Maher, yeah, and he was talking, and the rest of the panel, about how much Donald Trump lies, and I said, well, you know, it doesn't compare to the lies that permeate the society from the left. And I gave
exactly.
Oh, thank you. Wow, God, you are a kindred spirit. The fact that you even.
So can I
Sure,
interrupt you?
Please, yes, right.
I often get tons of people writing to me angrily and saying, "Well, Dr. Saad, how come you spend all of your time criticizing the left and not the right?" And then I tell them, "Well, I inhabit the world, the ecosystem of academia. All of the idiotic and imbecilic ideas that are contrary to reality stem from leftist professors. So the fact that I don't spend any time, critiquing the right doesn't mean that they don't have some ideas that are worthy of criticism, but that's because in the same way that a dermatologist doesn't try to solve diabetes, I'm a dermatologist, so I deal with skin disorders. That doesn't mean that diabetes is not important. So the reality is all of the dumb, destructive ideas that have gripped the West almost singularly come originally from leftist professors. So why should I be equally attacking both ideas? I don't have to do that, right?
Yes. Well, anyway, they're not equally absurd. I don't know what absurdity comes from right-wing intelligentsia in any way equivalent, symmetrically equivalent to left-wing intelligentsia. So I gave as an example on the show, and I'm sure this resonates with you, and I'd like to ask you how this happens. This is the key question. Why is it happening? So I said, here's another example of a left-wing lie. Men menstruate. And Bill Maher and all of them just laughed themselves silly. Nobody says that, they said. Now, of course, everybody says it. So how is it possible that people...
So I don't know if you...
Go on.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you're aware of this, but in 2017, I was summoned to the Canadian Senate because the Canadian Senate was debating a bill that has since passed called Bill C-16, which sought to incorporate gender identity and gender expression under the rubric of hate crimes. And I was brought on as an evolutionary psychologist and as someone who studies sex differences scientifically to actually argue that, no, trust me, there really is such a thing as male and female. And when I did that, one of the liberal senators, with great, sophistry and indignation, said, "You are pro-genocide, sir." And then to which I answered, you might want to be careful accusing someone who escaped execution in Lebanon of being pro-genocide. But this is the level of lunacy that we've reached, Dennis.
I missed that, though. I have to say. So let me just repeat for me and my listeners. You testified. What was it in the Canadian Parliament? Where was it?
It was in the Canadian Parliament and the Canadian Senate branch.
Okay, right. Okay, so
Jordan Peterson and I did that.
Right. And Jordan Peterson, by the way, for my listeners' edification, gave a beautiful blurb for the book. Professor Saad was completely uninterested in my giving him a blurb, but nevertheless, I'm still having him on.
By the way, I am going to correct the fact that I don't follow you, and I trust that you will be extending me the same courtesy on Twitter.
Maybe.
Okay. If it goes well, maybe I'll get a follow.
I'll tell you who will. In all seriousness, my wife is a Twitter aficionado, and she will. Right. She probably already signed up as a follower of yours. So anyway, I want to understand what happened. You said, and I want everybody to understand this. A professor of evolutionary biology. Psychology says psychology, right? Says in the Canadian Parliament in the year 2017 that men and women, what does it exist? What was the word you used?
That there is such a thing as male and
that
female.
there is such a thing as male and female, and he is accused of being pro-genocide by a member of the Canadian Parliament.